Next, we'll go on to the next part of the Movies Monthly, which is what I watched at home. And for this, it's all the things that I watched and concluded. So if I'm in the middle of a TV season, like House of the Dragon right now, I'm 2 episodes in, so I'm going to wait till the finale airs and I watch it and to add it to the Movies Monthly. But so yeah, we're currently in the middle of a few shows like that. But so these are all the movies and then a couple TV series that are seasons that I wrapped up this month. So The Hurt Locker, this was on my list as a Best Picture winner. I've got one of my watch lists that I need to make it through is all the Best Picture winners since the year I was born. Like that's a goal that I'm working on. So I'm slowly ticking off movies off that list. And The Hurt Locker is one of them. And I was looking forward to this movie. I'm like, oh, Best Picture. It's got Jeremy Renner. I like him a lot as an actor. It's got Anthony Mackie. I like him as well. But this movie it wasn't bad. But given that it's a Best Picture winner, that's almost where I want to put it. But it was fine. It was just fine. But I don't know how this movie got Best Picture. Absolutely no idea. I was thoroughly bored the entire time, and it baffles my mind that this thing got Best Picture winner. So that's all I'll say. This is not one that I'd recommend, and yeah, thoroughly skippable. Next up, we have What About Bob? This one I watched when I had my dad over for his birthday, and this was one that he wanted to watch. So we watched it, and I thought it was. I kind of wanted to like it more because it was one that my dad had requested, but this was the whole premise of this movie and it's a comedy, but all the comedy is focused on this basically the mental illness, if we want to call it that. I don't know what the correct term is, but we'll say mental illness or mental condition of the main character. And that's pretty much the entire, that's most of the comedy. The other part of the comedy is, how another character basically goes crazy having to deal with this person. And, yeah, I just feel to have a whole movie about that is just very insensitive, especially given that there are people like that in the world. So, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like the type of comedy that it just felt like cheap comedy, I guess. So I didn't really appreciate it. I get comedy is subjective, so I wouldn't say oh, this movie shouldn't be made, it's offensive. I just think there's a lot better types of comedy than a movie whose whole point is to make fun of a mental illness. So you something could be said for Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, but I don't know. I think that's a little different, but maybe not. I don't know. It had me reconsidering what you should do for comedy and what should be made into comedy and what shouldn't. But it was, that aside, I think it was funny enough for the type of comedy it was, but I thought it was fine. It was yeah, entertaining, but it was the sort of thing that I didn't really want to be entertained by. So next up, I rewatched No Time to Die. I hadn't seen this since theaters. I watched it, once in theaters, and then I've had the 4K Blu-ray on the wall behind me, actually, for a while now. And this, I think, was my second favorite movie of last year. So this is a masterpiece, in my opinion. I know the villain could be better. That's probably the weakest part, but that's the one tiny mark you can get against this film, in my opinion. But I absolutely love No Time to Die. I think it's the best of the Daniel Craig Bond films. I still really like Casino Royale and Skyfall, but they're just a bit different. This one just had the emotion with it, which, yeah, anytime you can get me emotional about a film, it immediately elevates it higher than what it would have been. So next up, we have Mockingjay, or The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 2. I had seen this once before, and I've been kind of working my way through the series over the last, I don't know, year or so. I think I started that rewatch, and every couple of months I've been watching one of these films. So I finally got around to this one. I had it as a UK 3D import for a 3D Blu-ray, but it didn't play in my Blu-ray player. which was kind of weird because I don't think I've had that happen before. So I think I got it on sale or something from Amazon and picked up the 4K Blu-ray, and that's what I watched here. But this one was just fine. Again, I had kind of forgotten what the film was about or what my initial take on it was, but now I remember why, because it was just fine. So I do really like the other. I think all the other Hunger Game movies are at least good, and I think Catching Fire I might put in the great category, but this was definitely the weakest of the bunch. So next up we have Oblivion. What got me on that? I think I was watching a YouTube video, or I think this last month I watched somebody react to Edge of Tomorrow, and then I also listened to like an hour-long review on it as well. So it kind of got me in the Tom Cruise mood, and I saw that this was leaving HBO at the end of the month, so it's not one that I'd seen before, and figured I'd check it out. And it was a good film. It's my type of movie for it being kind of sci-fi and future-y. So it was, yeah, and like that on top of it, I thought it was well done. It's not like the best story ever, but it was good, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I kind of considered putting it in the great category because it's really a movie for me, I feel like, but I think it's a high B, high good category in my opinion. Next up we have Westworld. They finished their 4th season this last month, and yeah, going back to like the movies and theaters haven't been all that good lately, but like in the month of August, and if we go like halfway through August, or like a week into August to a week in September, we will have had season finale of Westworld, series premiere of House of the Dragon, series premiere of Lord of the Rings of Power, new season premiere of Rick and Morty. And we're just in a month of like some really good shows in my opinion, and shows that I absolutely love. But on top of that, if we extend it out, like going back, if we look at like the last like third of the year, starting like this summer, like we'll look at the summer. We'll say Labor Day or Memorial Day through Labor Day. We also have had The Boys season 3, Stranger Things season 4, and it's just been a really good summer for TV. Most of my favorite shows have had new seasons, and they've all been pretty good. So Westworld is. So I think the first season of Westworld is a masterpiece, and then everything we've gotten since then has been good. It's been between good and great, and I'm kind of torn where I fall on season 4. I think I saw several of like the twists coming, so that put it down, and like it would probably be in the great category if I didn't see a lot of the twists coming. But I don't know, I still really like the characters, and I thought they did a good job of making it kind of different than the previous seasons. So I'm gonna give this one a great. I still really like Westworld. Is one of my favorite shows. I think nothing will ever touch season 1. That is a masterpiece in my opinion. But I still like. I'm a software engineer, and so I'm also like somewhat knowledgeable, not the most knowledgeable, but like somewhat about AI and that sort of thing. So when the show like this comes on and gets into that, it's right up my alley for things that I'm interested in. So I think a lot of people have fallen off of Westworld, but I still really like it. I think it's a great show. And it's, visuals are really good. I think they did a good job of keeping this season unique. And like that's one thing I've really appreciated about the show. It doesn't feel repetitive. Each season is distinct and has some kind of new setup that makes it very different than the previous ones. And then lastly, I watched the new season of Dota Dragon's Blood. This was good. It was just 8 like 25-minute episodes, 30-minute episodes. It didn't really do anything to overly stand out. It's like I don't want to compare it to Arcane, which in my opinion is a masterpiece, but they're both like animated series based off of popular like MOBAs, like Dota and League of Legends. So it's kind of hard not to compare them, and being a Dota fan myself and not a League of Legends fan, I'm a little upset that we got the worst show between the two. But it's still a good show, still entertaining, but it didn't have me like hooked at all going through it. I enjoyed it well enough, but it was a little bit of a task to get through it. So yeah, it's still one that I'd recommend though. It was interesting how they set this season up because like the second or third episode ends and it feels like it felt like that should have been almost a season finale, but that it plays out in a way where it actually sets up the rest of the season. And that was kind of interesting to have that kind of dual sort of purpose thing. So, but like I kind of appreciated they didn't stick it at the end of a season and leave it on a cliffhanger. But yeah, so that part was pretty interesting, but it didn't, yeah, it definitely didn't do anything to get into the great category for me. But that's what I watched at home over the course of this month. If you've been watching new stuff and want to share, I always love hearing about what other people enjoy watching, and I'm open to other recommendations. I certainly don't have all the time in the world, so I can't check out everything that I would like to or that gets recommended. But I still love to hear recommendations and yeah, try to make room for what other people recommend. But yeah, leave your suggestions in the comments below, or if you've seen any of these, I'd love to hear your thoughts on any of these if you like them, or if you think I'm, yeah, which of these do you like? I have a lot of finds in here, so I hope other people enjoy them more. But that's my take on these movies. So.